Berachos Daf Yud Gimel. The Gemara tells us that once Mashiach comes, we're not going to be mentioning the Geula from Bavel, Paras, and Madai, but we will be mentioning Mitzrayim, though it's slightly muted compared to how we mention it today, because the main focus is going to be on the Geula from Gog and Magog, as the pasuk says, Hideni Oisa Chadasha. I'm going to give you a brand new Geula. It's going to be so large that you're going to forget about the other Geulas. A mashal, a person bumped into a wolf, and he has a great story to tell over to his friends. He bumped into a wolf and he was saved. Later on, he bumps into a lion, so he forgets about his first story and tells him the second story about the lion. And then after that, he bumps into a snake. He forgets about the other two stories, and all he tells people is how he was saved from a snake. He defeated a snake. Klal Yisrael is going to be so busy with the Geula of Gog and Magog, they're going to forget about all the other Geulas that they had. We know because Baruch Hu changed Yaakov Avinu's name to Yisrael. It's a mutter to call him Yaakov. We see we do that every day. The answer is because HaKadosh Baruch Hu himself called Yaakov Avinu Yaakov after he changed his name, so there's no Isser. However, when it comes to Avram Avinu, the Torah tells us, do not call him Avram. Therefore, his name was Avram, which means the father of his nation. Avram means the father of all nations. There's an Issa D'Oraisa, Allah v'na aseh, to change his name and call him Avram. What about Sarah? Her name was Sarai, princess of her nation, Sarah, the princess of all nations. The Gemara tells us that HaKadosh Baruch Hu told Avraham Avinu, this is what you need to call her, but he didn't tell us. So therefore, if we call her Sarai, we're not over an Isra, and with that we finish the first perek of Shas. We should be Zoicha to finish all the prakim of Shas together. Says the Mishnah, if a Sefer was fixing a Sefer Torah, and the way you fix a Sefer Torah, you say the words to yourself, and you fix. Now, if he had no intent to say the words, then he's not Yaitza Kriya Shema if the time of Kriya Shema came. But if he had intent to read it, he knew he was reading it, then he's Yaitza. Unless you hold, like the Mandomer that says, Mitzvahs Tzrichos Kavana, and then you would have to have Kavana to be Yaitza, the mitzvah of Kriya Shema. The Gemara is going to be discussing, the Mishnah that is, different cases of somebody stopping in middle Shema to say hello to his friend, or to answer. Everybody agrees that if the guy's not his friend, the guy is a bad guy, that could kill him, then obviously you're allowed to say hello to him, and answer him smack in the middle of Kriya Shema. If it's out of honor, kavod, so if it's between prakim, and we'll see what that means, then you're allowed to, according to Rameir, and according to Rabbi Yehuda, not only that, you're allowed to answer somebody, anybody, even if there's no honor involved. In middle of the perek, between psukim, in the middle of a perek, according to Rameir, you're not allowed to answer, and according to Rabbi Yehuda, you're allowed to answer. What is Bein HaPrakim? Bein HaPrakim means between the two brachas of Kriya Shema before Kriya Shema, between the second bracha of Kriya Shema and the pasuk of Shema, between the parsha of Shema and Vayayim Shemaya, between the parsha of Vayayim Shemaya and Vayomer, between Vayomer and Vayatziv. According to Rabbi Yehuda, you don't stop between Vayomer and Vayatziv. Why is the parsha of Shema first? It's not in the right order. In the Torah, the first parsha is Vayomer. The answer is because first we want to do Ol Machal Shemayim, and that's in the parsha of Shema. So then why is Vahayim Shemaya second? Vayomer should be second. The answer is because Vahayim Shemaya is talking about Torah, and Torah is day and night, whereas the parsha Vayomer Tzitzis is only during the day. Rebbe holds that Kriya Shema must be said only in Lashon HaKodesh because it says Vahayu as is. Although we already know that you can't say Kriya HaTorah in any language, it has to be in Lashon Kodesh, but there's a Havamina that Rebbe would darshan like Chachamim. Chachamim say the word Shema. Shema is a lashon of hearing. Any language that you hear it in, Chachamim hold you could say Kriya Shema in English. Comes Rebbe and says, no, Kriya Shema has to be said in lashon kodesh. So what does Rebbe do with the word Shema? He says the halacha is that you must hear the words coming out of your mouth. And Chachamim hold you're yaitzu even if you don't hear the words coming out of your mouth. And Rabbanan take the word Vahayu and they learn that if you mix up the words Shemaya im instead of im Shemaya, you're not yaitz. It has to be in order. And Rebbe learns that from the Hey of Hadivarim. We have a three-way machlokes. Where do you have to have kavana, the proper intent, in order to be yaitz? And if you don't have that proper intent, you're not yaitz. According to Rameir, it's just the first pasuk. And therefore, and Rava holds that's the halacha, and that's how we pass it. So if a person just had kavan the first pasuk and he had some aynus and he didn't say the rest of Kriya Shema, he's yaitz al halacha. According to Rabbi Eliezer, you must say the first three psukim of Shema, the kavana, as it says, ha'ela. And therefore, they hold that you have to stand. In other words, if you're walking like Beis Hillel, and you'll have to say Kriya Shema while you're walking, but the first three psukim you must stand still in order to have the proper kavana. Rebbe Akiva holds that the entire first parasha you must have kavana because it says Alev Avecha, and therefore they hold that you have to stand still and say the whole first parasha so you have kavanah. The pasuk says Alev Avecha v'dibarta bam, that until that point you have to read it and have kavanah, but from that point on you could just read it without kavanah, and you're yoytza. You should have kavanah, but if you don't, you're yoytza. What about the fact that in the second parasha it says Alevavchem ledaber bam? Seemingly you have to have kavanah. So the Gemara, no, that comes to tell us the halacha that your tefillin sheyad should be opposite your heart. Rabbi Yosha holds that up until that point, Alevavchem, you have to have kriya v'kavanah, but past that point you have to have kavanah. And the words ledaber bam come to teach us that we're talking about Torah, and the pasuk is telling us. You must teach your children Torah so that your children could talk in learning. Says the Gemara in the pasuk of Shema, when you say echad, if you lengthen the dalet, it's very hard to do it as Ashkenazi. It's easy to do it if you're a Teimani. Then HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives you arichas yamim. Rav Ashi says as long as you don't say the ches really quickly, the ches has a comment. Echad, if you say quickly, it might sound like a shva. You shouldn't do that. Saw Rabbi Yirmiyah saying the word echad very, very long. So he said, listen, the only chiyuv you have is to think in your head that Kadosh Baruch Hu is one in Shemayim, in the Aretz, and in the four ruchos. There's no need to be Meirich. Rebbe would teach his Talmidim Torah from morning to evening. He had no time to say Kriya Shema, and he was actually potter from Kriya Shema. So what he would do is he would put his hand on his eyes and he'd just say one pasuk, the first pasuk of Shema Yisrael. And his machlok is whether or not later on Rebbe would repeat the entire Kriya Shema. We know one thing. We know that Rebbe would say over to his Talmidim every single day, would talk about Yitzias Mitzrayim. Either because he wanted to be Yotzei Yitzias Mitzrayim, or he wanted to be Maskir Yitzias Mitzrayim in the proper time. Have a wonderful day.